Don't want to bring you in that far. Goodness crikey. Oh dear. Let's try again. Hang on. No. Oh. Come on, phone. Okay. That doesn't look as dark now either, does it? Now, if you were with me earlier, you would know that I ended up with my drink on my work. I noticed coffee on my vintage collage piece that I believe I've accidentally done when I went away on the weekend. And then when I reached into my bag to get something to work with, I noticed I had my couple of other pieces I'd done were wet. And when I went digging, I realised that, not this can, I had a can of Zero and it had a tiny little pinprick hole in it and had gotten on my work. So I've gone off and I've hand washed those pieces very delicately, and they're now out in the sun drying. So now I'm looking for something else to do. I want to do some more pieces for some more needle books, and probably needle books. Let's do another needle book, hey? I haven't, these are all mainly, if you watched my gifted vintage haul the other day, you would have seen these, except for that piece, except for those couple of pieces on top there. These are all linens that haven't been worked yet, or they've been started and not finished. They're all heavily stained, but I think I can fix them. Where can I put them in? Out of the way for the moment. I'm starting to think this piece is done on feed sack. It's almost like it is, I think, a calico. It's nothing like fabric we'd get today. It's been worked, as you can see. It's one of the chunkiest embroideries I've ever seen worked. I thought that this hadn't been finished, but what I'm thinking now is that it's probably been cut off. As soon as I get set up, my dog's telling me she needs to go outside. And she's hungry. She's not hungry. She's had 2 feeds today already. And it's... I don't know if you can... hear her pressing the buttons. I can't leave her outside at the moment. Sometimes when I'm on here, I leave her in the backyard while I'm doing these. But I can't leave her out there because the last couple of nights we've had a possum. I think there's a young buck, or there's a couple of young bucks. And he has knocked some palings off my fence, and I haven't fixed them yet. So I can't let her out there. And I've also been finding the last 2 days bones with meat on them. They're fresh bones. I don't feed her bones. I don't know where they're coming from, so I'm not comfortable leaving her out there unsupervised. Don't yell at me, please. Don't yell, please. There's no one there. Can you please stop? You're too loud. Go and lay down. She doesn't need anything. I've tended to her. She's been fed. She's been toileted. I also got this, if you'd have seen my haul the other day. But anyway, back to the task at hand. I'm looking for something to do a needle book, aren't I? You know what? I've got these. What about this? I've got this or this one. What do you think of that one? I've also got this in a green. I wonder what I've done with that. I've got some of that in a green. It's a brushed cotton. I wouldn't say it's flannelette, but it feels nice under your hand. Can you tell? I have some nerve pain today, so rubbing my hands on that is relieving the pain. It feels good. Okay, so I've got that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got other fabrics, but just trying to work through. Here's another one. Got this one. Got this one. This one, however, as much as I love that print, it feels synthetic. It doesn't feel like cotton at all. It's like, I don't even know what to call it. I've also got this. So give me, if you're watching there, let me know what you think I should use. I don't even know if I can see your comment or anything. Probably not. It's not like TikTok, is it? Can't decide what to use for a needle book. I've also got some of this Sanderson. I've got a few pieces of that. I've got this piece. Which way does it face? That looks upside down now. I must go that way. Got that one. I've got that one. That looks like a newer print. This is, when I worked in a quilt shop some years ago, I'm sure we had that print in the quilt shop. I don't think that's a vintage piece, so to say. I've got other pieces. I didn't bring them out. I've got other vintage pieces. So now I can't decide whether to... I also bought this. Oh, shivers, nearly kicked you into oblivion. I also bought this recently. It's square. Someone's gone to all the trouble to needle turn it all. But I bought this so I can use that for a needle book, cut it in half. And I'm struggling. Why are you licking the screen door? Have you lost your marbles today or something, hey? You've got some odd behaviour today, Peanut. So I'm really struggling to cut this. I want to cut it in half, what I'm thinking, and use it as maybe a trifold needle case, needle book. What do you think? That's another option. I've also got this bark cloth. I've got more of this. This is just a piece. So I've got some bark cloth I could use. But I've also got that's no good for the outside. I've also got this. This is another thing I have. So I've got this piece of vintage cutter quilt. Maybe I should start with something like that. I have this piece. Oh, it looks like I have another piece of that one. So maybe I should start with one of these. Do you think that might be the best option? I don't know about you, but I have got so many ideas in my head at the moment about what I want to do, and I overwhelm myself a bit sometimes. Now, I don't know if you can see, but that's not the straightest cut, so of course I've tucked everything. If you're not aware already, I am waiting for the traffic to pass. I'm working outside on my veranda, and I have some things tucked under me here on the table, but it's not the greatest setup, to be honest. The reason I'm out here is because the light is better than inside. Now I want to cut the least amount possible off here. This side's square. I don't want to cut that much off, but to make that all square, I'm going to have to. That's a bugger. Let's see how much I can. If I stretch that 1/4 of an inch, I lose that corner fraction. No, have to be there. And I'm pretty sure it's time I replaced my blade. Okay. Why do I find it so difficult to trim this cutter quilt? I'm holding my breath. Isn't that crazy? I'll square this side off a bit. Even though I ran off this bottom edge, it's not exactly square, so I'm just going to trim that a little bit. And then let's check this last edge. Now, I'm confident that that's as square as I'm going to get it. Now to decide the front and the back. There's a lot of age marks on this piece. That I don't necessarily think I can cover it all. I don't know which piece to have as the front. Not that it matters at this point. Oh, here's the vintage. This is the, I believe, 1920s Sanderson. I love it. I'm not game enough to cut it. I only have, it's only about 40 centimetres squared, if that. Now I need to find some little pieces to put inside here. That could be an option. This is a piece that's already been cut up. It has some stains though. Maybe I should, some of these pieces I haven't washed since they were given to me. Maybe I should go and wash them. And this piece has been washed, I know that, because I washed it the other day. I like this because one of the reasons it has had a bit, I didn't cut that. Someone's cut a piece out of there. I don't know what it was because it doesn't seem to be any embroidery there. But one of the reasons I love this is because it's been repaired. There's all this darn in there, which is really cool. I love these repaired pieces. So I might use that piece in here possibly. I also have, this has been cut up. I have a couple of these pieces. Oh, I forgot to show you. I haven't shared a photograph of this either on Instagram. I finished the little needle book. Put the button on. Did a needle woven bar to go around the button. And she's done. Here's that one. Here's another piece. This came out of one of Beck's kits, I believe. Maybe that can go on here somehow. I'm not fussed on it, to be honest. You can't even see that. Geez, I'm a dill. And I thought it might cover that. I'm just not fussed on that one. What else do I have tucked in here? I thought I had more. Here we go. Now this bit's been cut, but it has some, that's actually, I believe, starch. So that should wash off a lot of that, except for that dark stain in. So that one's been cut. This piece has been cut, and this was already cut when I got it, and you would recognise this from my collage piece that I'm working on. This piece has been cut. Now that might look alright in there. Or actually, maybe I should save that piece for this pink one. Don't know. Actually like it on that one better. Okay, I've got this lovely little... Now see, I've washed and soaked that and I thought it looked okay, and now the stains are coming out on it. What the go is there? Might have to wash again. Another piece that's been cut off. How, I don't... I watch some of you guys and you just sort of go whack whack, throw it all together, and I just can't seem to do that. I find it quite challenging. This piece, this might be a good piece to use. Don't know. Could that make a little... I think they'll be too small, won't they? Oh, goodness. Well, of course, I don't have any of the other ones out here. Well, that's a bit silly of me. What's in here? They're all... Don't think any of these would be suitable for that part. Maybe I should just concentrate on this cover for now. I think that's going to be way too big. Okay. I want something. What do I want? Again, I really struggle to harvest these pieces, guys. If there's a secret to doing it, I'd love to know. That'd be great on there, wouldn't it? But I just don't think I can cut it out. Let's set that aside. Maybe I can cut one of these out to go on there. That could be an option. Maybe I should come back to this. What about that? I could put that on there. I feel like though I need to press it, and I'd like a stabilizer behind that before I just... I'm overthinking it, aren't I? I think I'm really overthinking this. So what I would be inclined to do, instead of just cutting around this, I would like to press it first and then tack it down and maybe draw a rough outline around where I want to stitch, and then do all the stitching and then cut it. So I think I'll put that on there after all that. Should I do a... It's very stark white though against that, isn't it? Should I do... I'm finding this really hard. And I think I saw someone share the other day that they didn't just jump on and piece their thing together, and that they were struggling with it. And I think it's important to share that, because we often show these works in progress or finished pieces and people think, how did they do that? How did they get started? What decisions did they make? How did they choose those fabrics? How did they decide on that? Sometimes it's really easy. Sometimes I have pieces just fall together without even giving it any thought. Other times, like now, I'm finding it really bloody difficult. It's hard to make a choice or a decision. And I think it's important to share that so people know that we're not perfect. None of us are. And these things don't necessarily just fall into place. That could be useful on there. Sometimes it's hard, and that's okay. Just persist. Sometimes I found I was given some really good advice when I was working in art. I was teaching at an art studio, and someone gave me some advice and told me to, when I get stuck, if I don't like the piece, you know, that I've gotten so far, where I've arrived at or whatever, if I get stuck in the piece I'm working on, the advice I was given was to walk away, whether it's just walk away for 5 minutes, go and stretch your legs, get a cup of coffee, whatever, or put it out of your sight for a day or two, maybe a week, and then come back with fresh eyes. They call it fresh eyes, so you've got a new perspective of the piece you're working on. And sometimes when you get stuck, that's all you need. Just come back with fresh eyes. So I may need to do that with this piece because I'm a bit stuck. And here I was coming back to say, let's get into this, let's get this happening. Got these little puffs, I might unpick those. I've got these ones too. Not sure what I'm going to do with those yet, so I haven't unpicked them yet. I want to use this in a needle book. I don't want to. It's a little egg cozy, isn't it? It's the sweetest little thing. So I want to use that somehow as a pocket or a pouch, I think. See, these, what I found is these needle books are a bit, these covers are a little bit small for some of these pieces that come with them. So I haven't brought everything out that I probably need. I haven't shown you this yet. Look at this. This is from my little family that come and nest here every year. Once the chicks fledge, the nests get thrown on the ground. Sometimes they reharvest them. That one might work in there. Stupidly, I have taken I did have all my hankies together and I've taken some out in the last week to work on these. And I don't have them all together now, which was silly. These ones that my uncle brought back from Hong Kong many years ago, I've learnt the hard way that the colour runs when you try and wash them. I think I need to wash some more of these. That one might work in there, but it needs a bath. Oh, what about that one? Yeah, I don't know about that one. Look at this one. Isn't it gorgeous? Needs a wash though. That one might work in there. Need to wash, need to wash, need to wash. Obviously I'd forgotten to wash these ones. That one's cute too. That looks like sticky tape on that one. Oh, this one's pretty. That'll work in there, won't it? That's very pretty. It's just the right vintage, I think. Oh my gosh, I just realised that's actually Petty Point. Those roses, I thought they were embroidered. They're Petty Point. Wow. Don't know if I can harvest that one now. Okay. So, I'm not as prepared as I thought I was. When I had my break, I went back inside, double checked I had everything I need. I don't. Talk about hopeless. I keep coming back to this piece, but I think it's a bit too... It feels too white or too modern. Do you think about that? Do you worry about that? If you're using this vintage cutter cloth, for example, as your starting point, do you worry about the pieces that may be too modern? Or do you just mix and match? That's something I'm struggling with. I feel like I need to keep most of it the same vintage. I'm even using my vintage cottons. I think I'm probably overthinking it all. Let me know in the comments. I want to come back to, I keep dodging this because it doesn't feel right, but I've been told to put it out there, and if it's meant to be, it will be. If anyone is interested in sponsoring me, I am in need of a new ring light and stand, an all-in-one sort of thing. The stand I'm using now, that it's set up on today, is broken. The ring light no longer works. The USB port that plugged in to turn it on, the pin's been snapped off when my dog accidentally stood on it. And the whole thing, the whole head unit, the whole sort of from the stem upwards has been held together with gaffer tape and duct tape and sticky tape and whatnot. So if anyone's interested in sponsoring me for a new, what do you call it? Ring light stand, that would be wonderful. I'd be eternally grateful. And this is a big one. I need a new phone. So if anyone's in a position to sponsor me for a new phone, I currently have an S20 Ultra Samsung. It is so worn out and so used and so loved that it's overheating, it's shutting down. It has to be charged at least 3 times a day. I think one of the lenses has broken because it gets to a certain point and it will not focus anymore. If I go past that point it will focus, but it's the most common lens that I normally use. The screen's cracked, and that's not from lack of care necessarily. It was thrown out of my hands by my dog when she was a puppy. It did have a case on it, but still managed to smash the screen. It's lagging. I'm struggling to open documents. I can't get my work done on it that I need to get done. I don't have a working computer, so I rely on my phone significantly. I'm on my own with my dog. I'm a bit isolated. I don't have a car, so my phone is my lifeline pretty much. And being on a disability, having multiple chronic illnesses, I've been trying to save for a new phone for the last 4 or 5 years, and it's proving to be really difficult. So if anyone's in a position or willing to sponsor me with a new phone or a ring light stand, I would be eternally grateful, and I'd be more than happy to make you something as a thank you gift. I have a lot of materials here. A lot of my textiles have been donated to me, or they've been passed down from my grandmother. So in theory I don't have to purchase. The only thing it would potentially cost me is postage, which can be quite expensive. But if anyone would be interested in trading a new Android phone or even iPhone, I'm thinking I might go back to iPhones. it would be great if I could get a phone that would enable a watch, a fitness watch, so I could concentrate on improving my health and fitness. That would be wonderful. It's been suggested that I do an Amazon wish list. I'm finding it really difficult to do that because I don't like saying this is what I want. But I'm also aware that if I don't put it out there, it's never going to happen. So I'll go later today and create a wish list. Of course, they don't have to come from Amazon, but at least there, if I put it up there, you can see what kinds of things I'm after. Again, I'd be eternally grateful, and yeah, I'm finding it very difficult to get any work done with the setup I have, as you can imagine. I'd love to be able to share more content with you guys. I'd love to be able to I'd love to do a series on different stitches, on tips and tricks with fabrics and textiles that I've learned over the years, things that I take for granted that I've learned that a lot of you aren't aware of. Simple little things, things that shouldn't cost money or much money at all, things that could make your life easier, things that, I'd just love to be able to share more content with you. And at the moment, with the phone and the ring light stand I have, it's almost impossible. It's very challenging. So if anyone's in a position or willing to sponsor me with a new phone or a new ring light, that would be so wonderful. Again, if you'd like me to create something for you, a personalised needle book or zippered pouch or mini journal, or something that I make, not something that I'm not familiar with, I'd be happy to do that. I know it's not going to be anywhere near the amount of compensation, especially for a phone, but that's what I can offer at this point in time. So anyway, I thought I'd come here and I'd be piecing something together for you guys today, but I'm really struggling with this. I'm struggling with what to put in these needle books. I've got some doctor's flannel here. I don't know if I want to cut this piece because I've got another piece I've already started. Obviously we're going to need some doctor's flannel in our needle book. I still think I'm going to put this on the front. This is bare on the inside, so what about this on the it's not the right era. See, this is what does my head in. This I believe is probably 20s, 30s. This would be 70s. And this is what I was asking earlier. Do you struggle with matching decades with the textiles? Or do you just mix and match, happily mix and match? That's something I'm struggling with. I had... Where is that? I know this is still not the right vintage, but could I line this with the bark cloth? I think that would work. And again, it probably doesn't need to be lined, but because this cutter quilt is I think it's quite plain. I feel like I need to put something in there. Not entirely convinced. Maybe Sanderson's the wrong vintage, but would that work? I'm just looking for the smaller piece, so I'm not cutting into. Oh, what about this? I think I like that. This is frustrating me. These bloody flies. I was trying to turn the side over and then I thought, why don't I just do that, you goofball? That might work. I think that's too big, that check. And I think that's just totally wrong. That's too modern. There's another. See, even though I'm not overly fussed on these napkins, they're much more modern. The colours are better with this. Now this is cute. I'd like to put this in one of these needle books. Someone started embroidery on this, and that's all they've done. It's a cute little, I don't know what. So I think that would fit in here well, but then my question is, should I finish the embroidery? I think I should, because that's going to do my head in. What on earth have I done? Of course I can't find the piece of... See, this might work, this Sanderson. Even though it's modern, or more modern. Through the monitor here, it looks like a much bigger contrast in colour than it does in real life. But these greens are similar, they're similar tones. And there's yellow here, yellow here. There's blue flowers here, there's blue in here. So in theory, this Sanderson might work. Or should I stick... See, the bark cloth to me, it's too stark white. It feels too stark. See, these are all the things that I stress about. That's a nice stark white in the bark cloth. And this is an off-white cream aged fabric. And to me, it's too much contrast. But then in saying that, I'm going to have the same issue if I stick any white doilies in. See how stark that contrast is? And this is the issue I'm having with putting this embroidery on it. It's a very stark white. But I think in my head I thought if I cut around it, it's not going to be as in your face. So again, let me know if you get stuck like I am. Let me know if you think about the decades that the fabrics are from, or do you just mix and match? As I mentioned, this I imagine would be from the 20s, 30s maybe. This would be from the 50s, 60s. It's bark cloth, maybe even 70s. This Sanderson here, this particular one I believe is from the 80s or 90s. It's an upholstery fabric. This one here with the peonies, these are peonies, I actually googled this one. This is a much more modern fabric, it's still available. And then there's the 70s floral. Part of me wants to put this with it, but then if this is 20s, 30s and this is 70s, there's 50 years difference there. Do you worry about that? Is that something that you think about when you're putting a piece together? Because it's stressing me out. I think I really just need to just mix and match, don't I? And then I worry about balance. See, to me that's not balanced, but I can add things to this to balance it. But then that almost instantly balances it again as soon as I fold it. And how can I explain balance? Now I'll probably do this explanation injustice, but to me balance is when you look at a piece of art, usually you add something that your eye is drawn to immediately, whether it's an image, a shape, a texture. So for example, if I was to put a piece like this on there, in theory my eye should first be drawn to that. It might even be drawn to that because there's colour there and movement. So if I was to, first split second I was to look at that, where would my eye be drawn first? And it would be a split second, it would flick around, my eye would flick around the whole surface of this. But I'd imagine that it would be originally drawn to here. So then this piece in particular I feel is balanced because it would then jump to here. My eye would jump between these pieces before it scans the whole piece. So that doesn't mean you can't layer other pieces on, but for me, balance is not having everything weighted in one corner. So if I was to add all of my elements up in this top corner here, what else can I throw on there? If I add all my elements up here in this top corner, that's unbalanced to me. Looking through the monitor, it feels heavily weighted here through this green now. So I'd potentially be drawn to this shape first and then move up here. And it feels heavy towards this side. So my eye wants to move here. It feels unbalanced to me. I can balance that out. And this is just one of my quirks, to be honest. It's not necessary. To me, that almost instantly balances that piece out. It's breaking up this big green. See how heavy that green looks? It feels heavy and weighted. It feels like it's sinking into the background. It doesn't help that the background is a similar colour. So it just sort of sinks back down into there. And as soon as I put this on, it breaks that up and it balances that out. I can't really show you, maybe I can. Bear with me for a second. Now this piece is wet. If you weren't following along earlier, I had to stop because I ended up with drink on my working piece. So here, this piece. It's fairly balanced at the moment. So when I started it, all I had down was this piece here, this printed linen, and then this flower here. So that was balanced to me. It just sort of made a square, it grounded the piece. The eye was drawn rather equally to that, probably to here first and then over to here. Can you stop yelling, mate? It shouldn't be the postie, he's already been, you missed him. It's probably up the road there, there's no one else there. But then I've kept adding. So what I did, I ended up adding this piece here, which elongated this original piece I had. It was still balanced though. But then, what did I add next? I think I added these pieces of fabrics down here. So without those, with those, it anchored it more, but then this side felt unbalanced. It was a lot lighter, and my eye was drawn over here. It was heavy on this side. So then I started doing the weave stitch to try and anchor that side a bit around this embroidery, which is pushing that forward and making sure that your eye is drawn to that. But then I've added more layers, and as I've kept adding, I've tried to balance. I've kept this piece here, I'm not sure what I want to do with. I did think initially that I would make that a feature. So I'd stick a print under there and have that scalloped edge as a feature. But now I'm not sure. I'm starting to think that it's just going to get too big. That might even just come in like such. This bit will be cut off down here. So it's a bit hard to show you while it's wet. So now, because this is going to end along the bottom here, all this white starkness left it floating, and it was messing with my head. And again, this is just my quirks and idiosyncrasies. So now I'm adding darker fabrics along the bottom here to ground that. See how that changes that almost instantly? Imagine that with much more white exposed along the bottom. As soon as I add some heaviness to that, it changes the look completely. So I'm just going to put this back in the sun to dry. So they're the other things that I most often subconsciously think about when I'm trying to create a piece. So because I've got this as a starting point, I think I want that as the back. I love the colour, but I want to put something on it, give it some more texture and dimension. So as I have this as a starting point, as I mentioned earlier, this green through here feels very heavy to the eye. Let's see what it looks like. if that changes with a different coloured background. Yeah, it still feels heavy to me, that green. So what I want to do, first thing I want to do is break this area up here, I think. And to do that, I will possibly add, now I don't know what I've done with it. What did I do with that? Oh, that piece with the vase and the orange flowers on it. No idea where I've put it now. Talk about a knucklehead, fair income. I'm on a roll today, aren't I? I could also, I looked at this as well. This was another option. Cut out this little leaf curly Q and wrap around there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't want to use these flowers yet. I want to keep those for a bigger piece. I don't know what I did with that bloody thing I had, that piece of, it's not on the floor. It's got to be here somewhere. That was another piece I was considering cutting out, but I think I want to give this, I think I like this darker colour for this, but I want to give it a wash and see if I can shift those stains. I think I had that piece out, didn't I? So it can't be too far. I like this with this as well, but I don't really want to cut around that just to add to that, because I can use that like that for something else really. Here it is. It is here. So back to this. This is what I'm thinking I will use. Now I'm stuck on that bird's nest. I'm thinking I will apply this to it. It's really hard to see unless I cut it out. I'm concerned about how stark that contrast is with the white. So what I might do, I'll end this again for now. I know I said I'd come back organised. I thought I was, I really did. I thought I was ready to start arranging and harvesting and picking and choosing, but I'm so undecided. So what I think I'll do is go through what I've washed last week inside, see if there's anything there I can use. And these pieces here I got the other day, I'm going to give them a bit of a wash and hang them out while there's some sunshine. And I might be back later today. I'm sorry, that was probably very disappointing. It's not at all what I'd planned. But I guess I'm not prepared to just throw shit on for the sake of throwing shit on. Put it that way. I want it to be, if I'm going to be buying this, I want it to be, you know, nicely constructed. So that's another thing I'm constantly thinking of. If I was to buy this, what would I expect? So I'm going to go. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching along with this one. I apologise sincerely for not getting as far as I had hoped with this video. Hopefully I'll be back later today and we might actually get somewhere next time. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.